Hello and welcome to Pulling Back the Rug. I am so excited that you took time to come and share with us on this day. When I tell you we have an amazing topic, listen, it's going to be mind-blowing, it's going to be eye-opening, and my guest today, let me just tell you a little bit of background about her. First of all, she's young, she's fly. Let me mention she's a pastor, and she started preaching at 15 years old. She's the youngest of 3 siblings, and when I tell you she has wisdom way behind, like way beyond her years, she has a lot of wisdom. Can you all help me welcome Pastor Jay? Hey, girl.
How you doing?
I am good. And let me just start out by saying thank you for being with me today. This means a lot. I know that you have a busy schedule. I know that there's always something going on, somebody pulling on you. And just because you decided to come and pull back the rug with me, it's just an honor. So thank you so much for that. Let me just go ahead and jump into this because I already know this is going to be good. So tell me something. Have you ever heard the statement, "The truth shall set you free"?
Absolutely.
Do you believe it?
There's
Yeah.
a lot to be said about that statement.
Absolutely, because today we're going to get into if the truth really does set you free, or if the truth can kind of get you all bound up. So we're going to get into it. I remember I was in a relationship, right? And I told the gentleman, I knew he was doing some stuff he had no business. I said, tell me the truth. If you tell me the truth, I'll forgive you. But if you don't tell me the truth, I'm not going to be with you. Now, in my mind, I've already planned out, when you tell me the truth, I'm going to dump you. So he went ahead and told me the truth.
Right.
And I went ahead and dumped him. So what lies behind the truth? Because what people don't tell you is once the truth is revealed, there could be anger, there could be isolation, there could be a lot of stuff. So how do you feel about that?
So this is a very weighted question, and I'm grateful once again to be here. I do believe the scripture, John chapter 8, 31, 32 talks about that the truth shall set us free, but we have to know it. You have to know for sure that it's the truth. And I'll say this, that there are layers to the truth, right? Because sometimes people telling us the truth, it's the truth about you. Sometimes it's not the truth about the situation, but it's the truth about you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, we don't like to hear from the lens of another person how we appear to them, right? So that's one layer of that. And then sometimes we have, this sense of false humility that we're going to humble ourselves enough to know what the truth is. But once the truth is said, sometimes we become more bound because we were living in a form of the truth.
Come on.
But not the reality of the truth, right? Because when we live in truth, there is no truth that I've ever heard that did not make me grow. And I've never grown without pain.
Okay, because you already, see what I'm saying? I knew that this was going to be, I knew it. Because everybody says that they want the truth. Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. But can people really handle the truth? Are we mature enough to hear somebody else say, you offended me, I did this to you, I did that to you, you did this to me, and we act like everything is okay, but when that conversation is done, now we all upset and messed up because the truth was exposed. What really happens when the truth is exposed internally? Because we can say we can handle it, but can we really? Like, is it a good thing to tell the truth?
It's a good thing to tell the truth, but the truth, as I once said, when the truth is told, you have to make a choice about the truth. It's either you're going to die in it or you're going to develop from it.
Wow.
Because sometimes the truth kills things in us or causes things to die, even our own egos.
Oh,
So sometimes in order for you to develop, something in you has to die. When the truth is told, there is no hiding behind the facade of what I want the truth to be, because a truth
My
can be
goodness.
invented,
right.
right? Because once it's said, we feel like it's been written, it's been heard, but I can also give you a version of what I deem the truth to be, because here's the thing. Some people live outside of the truth, or they create a truth that serves them.
A truth that, wow. So my favorite movie is, one of my favorite movies is Baby Boy.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so, all right, Pastor Jay, come on, stay with me, okay? So in that movie, have you ever seen Baby Boy?
I've seen it.
Okay.
I've seen it, thanks to God.
So in Baby Boy, Tyrese makes the statement, I lie to you because I love you. Can we pull the rug back on that? Do you feel that people fabricate the truth because they don't want to hurt people, or they don't want to offend, or they may really love them? If somebody cheats, are you not telling me because you really love me, or are you, like you said, is this what you've created to make your truth right? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, so what I will say about that is there is a lot of truth for that person in a protection mechanism, right? Because some people cannot handle the consequences of their truth, and they don't want you to be stuck dealing with the dangers of their decision. So I would rather lie to you
Lord.
than watch my truth suffocate you. Because it could be that powerful to the point where it swallows you up, literally.
So for those of you who are listening right now, I want you to type in the comments, do you believe that people lie because they love? Is that really a thing? Like, do we lie because we love? And here's this. So I have, in my own personal life, I've dealt with the truth. I've dealt with what happens behind the truth. Point of fact, some things that was done to me. Once I found out the truth, I made decisions to exit from certain situations because that's what I wanted to do. That's what truth did for me. But don't laugh. So when it comes down to truth in your life, how has truth played a part? Like, how has certain situations that you've dealt with, what have you experienced? Like, can you really tell us how you handle the truth and lies?
So here's the thing about the truth and lies, right? You know, I personally, when I'm being lied to, I make a decision. You know, a lot of us, we want to take over the fact that we don't realize we're a saint trying to be a savior. So when we lie to people,
Wow.
we're trying to be their savior.
Wow.
We feel like we're protecting them. So you'll accept it because, oh, you lied to me to save me. But you don't realize that that lie causes unnecessary suffering that the truth could have healed in an instant.
Come on.
You know, and for me personally, one of the things that hurts me the most is normally when you hear a lie, you recognize that it's a lie. Because something in you, discernment normally,
Absolutely.
something
Immediately.
in you has already told you that what's being said to you is not the truth about you or the situation.
Absolutely.
And so you have to make a decision. To those that are listening in, we have to learn how to make conscious decisions about, would I rather deal with the lie so that I can save my image, so that I can save people who are looking at my life who think I'm perfect, who think I'm, you know, once we stop turning the idol of truth, because truth can become an idol to the point where you don't care who it affects.
Wow. That's good.
You know, we let truth become an idol to the point, well, I'm going to tell you the truth, whether it hurts you or not.
Wow.
But some people don't tell you the truth because they realize how painful the truth really is. Truth is not temporary. Lies are. So once I tell the truth, there is nothing temporal about what is coming out of my mouth. This is going to have a lasting effect on you. And so you don't want to be the person who's trying to be the savior. You have to allow the truth to heal in its process, because some of us can't handle the truth because it does create a level of bondage for us.
It does. And then, like you said, we're so busy, especially now, we want to paint this picture that everything is perfect.
Correct.
And what I'm realizing now in my own personal life is that the more that I talk about the things that I've experienced, the freer I'm becoming. Because I've lived behind the truth so long that it became a lie. It was my truth, but I was lying about my truth.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm okay, and you're not okay. Oh, that didn't bother me, and it did bother me. So I literally had to start freeing myself from this box that I had put myself in, and this picture I had painted, knowing it wasn't true.
Exactly.
Because on the inside, due to certain things that I dealt with, I was crumbling. But for people, for faith's sake, I wanted to say, oh, no, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Absolutely.
No, what lies behind the truth? And then, two, we have to realize that once we start being verbal about the truth, please expect to have warfare and people to start talking immediately.
Correct.
So this right here, when I started thinking about it, we are so quick to want others to admit what they've done, but we don't want to admit where we play a part in what they've done.
Exactly.
So let me tell you why I say that. Can I just have a transparent moment?
Absolutely.
And then I want you just to chime in.
Absolutely.
So I remember when I was going through a situation when I was exiting out of my previous marriage. And everybody was saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry this happened to you. And I was calm and I was cool. People couldn't understand why. Somebody had cheated on me. Why are you not just flipping? My truth was, I couldn't flip because of what was done to me, because I had previously did the same thing to somebody else. That's what I mean when I say what's behind your truth. Because it's easy. It's easy to get, to become the victim. But what have you been doing that has caused the law of reciprocity to come back around and say, hey, yeah, that's my truth.
Absolutely.
I couldn't be upset at what was done. I had to take accountability for what I had done, what I had made another female feel. So how do we get to truth?
You know, that was a lot. You just unpacked it. I want to make that very clear.
I'm talking about raw truth. Where we pull back the rug and really admit.
But see, a huge portion of truth is accountability.
It is.
Right? And you have to get to a place in your life where you say, I allowed this to happen to me. And a lot of times, even when we're dealing with real uncut truth, and as a leader, I say that even as we deal with testimonies.
Absolutely.
A lot of people tell a version of what God did because
you have helped somebody go to the cross.
Correct.
Even though you threw the rock and hid your hand. All of these things matter, because guess what? Everything that you do, it comes back.
It comes back. It definitely comes back. And sometimes when it comes back and the truth stares us in the face, we are more afraid to give our part and not realizing that us allowing people to have our version only matter when that person has a side. To the truth, there is always more than one side.
It's your side, they side, and then it's the truth.
It's the truth.
Because somewhere in somebody's story, something has been fabricated.
Correct. And a lot of people can't live in the truth because it is not the real truth. It is a truth that they can go to bed at night with.
Absolutely.
It's a truth that contributes to their consciousness.
So here it is. preparing for this topic, I found something out. So one thing about truth is that once you put it out there, once you put your situation out there, it's out there. So I know what I just shared, in people's mind, they probably was like, oh my gosh, she did what? But I also just helped the woman that was battling with dealing and doing stuff that she had no business doing, and now that thing came back too. So in that, we have to understand that our privacy is no longer our privacy once we start to pull back the rug. It's no longer, oh, this is my secret.
Absolutely.
No, this is everybody's secret, because now we're talking about it. But pulling the rug back on stuff like this, it is freeing people. And that's where, I think that's what I want now. That's where I am in my life. I just want to free people. I want to help people see themselves and be okay. So now I know you personally, right? And I know that I've been a witness of some of the things that you've experienced personally.
Absolutely.
What I love about you, and I hadn't got to that point, but what I love about you is that you always let the law of the land fight for you.
Absolutely.
So I know that there was some things, you know, with some defamation of character.
Absolutely.
There was some other things that you dealt with. And in talking to you and just watching you, you're like, nope, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to let the law deal with that.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about that.
So, you know, people that hurt you are still connected to people that see them as heroes.
Wow.
And normally it's children. Most of my life, well, you know, since I've been old enough to date, I've dated people with children. I've been connected to people with children. And the thing about that is, just because that person hurt me, my hurt cannot be louder than the love they have for the people they're connected to. And so one day their children are going to see and hear and view the things that have been done. And do I want to say that I contributed to the downfall of someone possibly hating themselves? Do I really want to be that person? Do I really want? And here's the thing. The truth has two sides. I love to leave seasons and people honorably, because at the end of the day, the law is there for a reason. And when you get to a place where you feel like you cannot respectfully have positive conflict resolution, then you need to turn to someone who is going to be able to orchestrate what that looks like. Because who wants to really always have to rely on the law? No one. I'm here to tell you that you don't want to always have to rely on the law.
Oh, it works.
But it does work. And you have to resist the need to tell your side. God keeps a record. So why are you keeping a record? He keeps a record. I don't need any receipts. God knows what was done to me. I know what was done to me. And I ask God that he heal not who I pretend to be.
Absolutely. The real you.
The real version of me, who people don't want to see on an everyday basis, because my realness causes a trauma for people who want me to be who they said I should be.
Wow. So you just said something. Wait a minute. It was like 2 or 3 things that just stood out. One being, you allowed the law to work with you and for you because there were children involved.
Correct.
Do you know how many people say things on social media, say things to children?
Correct.
I mean, all of this stuff, and they forget that the people that they're talking about have children.
Correct.
Not only that, we forget that everything you say about somebody else, somebody somewhere is going to say about you.
Absolutely.
So I make it a practice to try to be as positive as I can be. You know, it don't work all the time because I get mad sometimes. You know, I do.
Right.
I'm just being honest. You know, I can only pull the rug back on myself.
Correct.
But I'm smart and wise enough to know you don't put your mouth on people, because everything you say, you got to eat it. You got to pay for it.
Yes.
But you talking about that you had enough respect
For that person who hurt me.
for that person. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's, you don't find that.
Absolutely. And I hear that a lot, because you don't find that. But you know what? And also, you know, you don't want to be the person who, you know, you look back on your life and that grace you needed to give, it's not returning because you didn't give it to them. And people change.
Absolutely.
That might be who that person was to you in that season.
Okay, so do you really believe it? Like, do you really believe people change? Like
I do.
somebody who lied on you, talked about you, did all of this, you really believe that there is a moment where God can just step in and they are completely made over?
Correct. Because until you die, you have the ability to change.
I know I was going to say yeah, because Lord knows I have changed. God, thank you.
You have the ability.
You know, it literally, it's not easy though.
No.
It's not easy looking yourself in the mirror. It's not easy having to face the truth. Because what lies behind the truth is everything that you've tried to cover up. Everything that you've swept under that rug.
Yeah.
And there is nobody that I know, I'm talking about a cleanaholic,
Yes.
that when they clean up, they don't take their rugs.
Correct.
I'm talking about good cleaners.
Right.
My grandmama used to take her rug outside on the porch,
Absolutely.
and she would beat the rug until the dirt come out. And I used to ask, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
She said, there's some hidden dirt in my rug
Absolutely.
that got to come out.
Absolutely.
How many people are taking time to do that?
That's it. Because deliverance can't come to who we pretend to be.
Deliverance can't come to who you pretend to be. Why do we have so many pretenders? Why can't we just be honest? If something is bothering us, if we've offended somebody, why can't we just be honest? Why can't we just own up to it? Why can't we just allow truth to minister to us? Because behind truth is healing.
Absolutely.
Behind truth, like you said, is deliverance.
Yes.
And I don't know about you. I know I just feel like preachy because you up here. But I don't know about you. But I would rather take some time to heal for real
Absolutely.
than to be momentarily stroked and still be messed up.
Okay. Because a lie is a Tylenol. It brings
lie?
temporary relief. It is.
So for everybody that's watching right now, I need you to understand that a Tylenol is what?
A lie is a Tylenol. It brings temporary relief.
A Tylenol is for the lie. I have never, in all of my days, it's temporary, y'all.
It's temporary.
It's not going to last forever.
But the consequences of it.
And here's the thing, the
That's
truth
right.
hurts. It does.
It does. Absolutely.
The truth, telling the truth hurts.
Yes.
It's not easy all the time.
It's not.
Because even when you telling the truth, you still sometimes want to throw a lie in there.
The savior in you. The Superman syndrome. That I got to save you from the truth. Even growing up, parents, you know, they try to spare the seed
Yeah.
of the soil.
Wow.
But you're still doing worse to that seed because they can only grow in accordance to the fertilizer. So if you're fertilizing that growth with a
Oh
lie,
my God, you take it.
you
can
raise
only-
settlers, people,
my
children
God.
that settle for lies because this is what they've been trained to do from the beginning. When you tell a child something, that then becomes a part of their makeup. And even with me, I'm still shocked to this day that God would make me a pastor, and God used the place that hurt me the most to heal me, because I was hurt the most in church,
Absolutely.
not outside
Right.
of the church, but I was hurt because people didn't want to tell me the truth about my identity,
Wow.
and my truth offended people who lived in their offense, but they didn't realize their offense left me in an opposition within myself. Because if I live in my truth, I'll cancel out someone's family.
Wow.
If I live in my truth, I may never be able to be who I really need to be for that broken girl.
Wow.
So,
And then too, we have to realize what we've experienced and what we went through. It was for that little girl.
correct.
It was for that little boy.
Absolutely.
And you made a statement, your greatest hurt came from the church. A lot of
Absolutely.
people don't like to address that or deal with that. However, it is a real thing.
It is a real thing.
Because inside of a church, inside of the four walls, we're not talking about the church. There are people inside.
People.
And people who are hurting, who may be struggling with their identity. The only thing they can do is hurt you.
Yes.
Even when you try to be good to people, if they're used to hurt, they're going to take your goodness and they're going to turn that into a negative
Absolutely.
thing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't like to deal with that kind of stuff. You know, I was hurt in the church. Well, don't say that. That's a negative light on the church. No,
It's
the
not.
church is made up of a body of people.
Correct.
A body of people who deal with their own individual struggles.
Correct.
I'm not dealing with the same thing you dealing with. However, I'm dealing with something. And if I'm not ministered to, if I'm not poured into, if I'm not delivered,
Correct.
if prayer's not going forth, I'm still going to be bound.
Absolutely. And that's important.
And I'm going to hurt.
Yeah, because they always teach us that the church is a hospital, right? But you
Oh,
didn't
man.
tell me that everybody's not responding to the treatment. No one told me that. I thought all of us here was responding to the treatment. I didn't know that a lot of people here, we're reading the scriptures, but we're not letting it come alive. We're not letting it come alive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I often tell people, you know, we have a version of ourselves that we don't introduce to the church until we feel like they're comfortable with who we are.
Yeah.
But when are we going to stop doing that?
Yeah.
Because once again, we are surrounded by people who have to mask who they are for the madness of the people. Like, oh, no, you can't say that, you can't do that. But who said that we couldn't?
Absolutely. Our lives are meant to help.
Absolutely.
They're not for us. Like literally what I said earlier in the show, just making a statement about I couldn't be mad from infidelity because I too was on the other side of that
Absolutely.
coin. Somebody probably was like, oh, she shouldn't have said that. But
Yes.
yes, I should have.
Yes.
Because I'm a living witness that when you're honest with you, when you tell the truth
Exactly.
about what you've done, and then you see that God can change, he can deliver, he can really, oh my God, that's the same person that did this. Yes, I believe people can change.
Absolutely.
But now you have to be careful because like you said, some people, they dressed up real good, but their mission is to fool.
Yes.
It's to pretend.
Absolutely.
Make you think that they're getting what you're giving, and sometimes they really are not.
Absolutely.
They don't want to.
Absolutely.
And it even takes me to, you know, different people who struggle with different cancers.
Yes.
After a while, those treatments do not work in certain situations.
No.
It doesn't work. And it's the same thing with us. If you want the treatment, it's there for you. But when you stop responding, it's not the doctor's fault. It's you that stopped responding.
That's it.
This
That's
is,
it. Preach.
No, you preach because you started it first. You, Pastor J, don't do that. But
Yes.
I mean, just even looking at your life, you know, you lost your grandmother, you lost your mother, your pastor, and your godmother, all within what, a year and a half? And you're still standing.
Absolutely.
And in the midst of what you dealt with,
Right.
you had to coach. And I just want to talk about this for a few moments, talking
Absolutely.
about truth.
Yeah.
What lies behind the truth, because this is deep.
Yeah.
You had to coach and give permission for your grandmother and your mother
Right.
to leave this earth. Can you talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, so my grandmother was diagnosed with cancer, and she died 7 days later after
Wow.
the diagnosis. And she died in my room, in my lap. And I remember trying to resuscitate my grandmother, and she came to, and I felt accomplished. You know, I saved my grandmother's life. I felt accomplished in that moment. But just for her to be resuscitated to say, I'm only coming alive for you to tell me to die.
Wow.
And she literally said, Ladybug, can I just go Just leave me alone. I'll be okay. You'll be okay. No different than my mom. God bless their souls. And I'm so close to my family.
Yeah.
Not only did that happen that way, but my mom's in the hospital bed, and they come in and they say, we can't do anything else. Your mom is no longer responding to the medication.
Wow.
Her body's no longer responding. And my mother said, Ladybug, Mama, are you okay if I die? Now, naturally, in my own selfish need,
Right.
I would have said no. But because my mom was relying on
you.
a truth she needed, it wasn't my reality, but it's what she needed to go. She also requested permission to go forth. And I said, Mom, I'll be okay. And I didn't know that an hour and 27 minutes later, that she would then go on to be with the Lord as well.
And see, that's the whole topic. That's the show.
Yeah.
What lies behind the truth? Behind that moment,
Right.
you had to choose your feelings for your mother.
Yeah.
So you put you to the back burner.
Correct.
So that she would be at peace
Correct.
with leaving. So how did you get past that? Because I know that was difficult.
Absolutely.
How did you process that?
I'll say this. It's important to know that that wasn't my truth. That was the truth she needed.
Wow.
But it wasn't my truth. And I stand here with clarity about that. I did not lie to my mother. I gave my mother what she needed in that moment. So what I needed didn't matter then. Because sometimes the truth causes you to lay down your need to feel affirmed in that moment, or to feel like what I'm doing is going to be good for me. I have to do what was best for her, even if it hurt me. Sometimes doing what's best for other people does hurt you. And it did. And the way that I'm getting through that every day, because it's a struggle really bad, because my mother was my reason.
Yeah.
I don't have children. I've never been married.
Yeah.
My mother was my reason. And when your reason dies,
Wow.
and you got to stay alive, the only thing that keeps me going is the God of my grandmother. And
Wow.
the God of my mother is the same God that's with me right now.
Come on.
And I did therapy.
Yeah.
I went to grief counseling to watch this, not only grieve the dead, but the living, the things that
Come
have
on.
been done to me.
Yeah.
And because I wouldn't willingly leave, yes, God hurt me out of those things, so I'll get out. And that's my truth.
Wow.
That really is my truth.
So God literally had to hurt you out of some relationships
Correct.
so that you could rely solely on Him. That's deep.
And
But
I
that's
didn't
your
even know I
truth.
was alone.
Wow.
People can be around you and you still feel alone, because I felt like people waited on my mom to die to hurt me.
Wow.
Because as long as she was alive, you were my healer. But when she died, you were the biggest hurt to me.
And that's a truth that you
That's
have to deal
That's
with.
the truth. Absolutely.
So how do we, for everybody that's watching right now, how do we help people accept what the truth is?
The best thing that you can do for your future is realize how a grudge is so poisonous to your purpose.
Yeah.
You don't even realize that being locked up in a lie, how dangerous it is for your progression. And I'll say this to those that are watching and listening in,
Wow.
this show, this conversation is God's way of getting you to understand that the truth is your deliverer.
My goodness.
Until
Yes.
you make a decision that being in my truth is the only way I'm going to get delivered, then you can say John 8:31 and 32 is my portion. They shall know the truth,
Yeah.
and it will set them free. You cannot be set free by who you pretend to be, but God can only deliver who you really are.
Listen, we just unpacked a whole lot. Let me just say this, like, as we're winding the show down, there was a moment where a lie tried to kill our relationship.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't until truth stood up and we said, wait a minute, this ain't gonna happen,
Absolutely.
that we came together, and it was love that ultimately kept us bonded Never allow anybody to come in between. Because let me say this for those who are watching as well. When people see solid relationships,
Absolutely.
I mean pure relationships, they are coming for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
People don't like happiness. People don't like authentic love. And I've been loving you since you was little.
Right.
And so it makes it even better that you're a part of my bloodline.
Absolutely.
But look how the enemy tried to come in between our family.
Absolutely.
But because truth stood up,
Truth stood up.
God stood up.
Absolutely.
Here we are today.
Absolutely.
Still pulling back the rug.
Absolutely.
Still declaring the word of the Lord.
Yes.
Still loving. Still healing. And let me tell you something. I don't play about you. And you know that. And it's
Absolutely.
vice versa.
Absolutely.
We don't allow anybody to come in because we understand what we have.
Absolutely.
And so anything worth having, at some point, it is worth fighting for.
Yes.
Because we had to look the enemy in the face and say, "Not here, you won't."
Not here.
But you know I love you.
Absolutely.
Period.
And you recognize over time, patterns don't lie, people do.
Wow.
So we had a pattern. We had a pattern
Wow.
of showing up for each other.
All the time.
So it has to be in the person because it's not in the pattern.
Yeah.
So that's where the lie was, in the person, not the pattern.
Wow. And let me say this to everybody that's listening, that's watching right now. I feel it. There's somebody that you need to reconcile with. When you get done watching this live, whether it's through a text message, whether it's through the phone, whether it's through lunch, get that thing right.
Yes.
Authentic relationships matter. Don't you allow the enemy room to play with who God has ordained for your life.
Yes.
Because the enemy wants those who mean you no good to stay. But those who are authentic, the enemy likes to push away. So take time right now to reconcile. I had to get that out because I felt it.
Absolutely.
Because it's necessary. And we are both women of God.
Yes.
And the enemy knows it.
Absolutely.
And we're amazing in what we do in our own right.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you are 32 years old.
Almost. Knocking on the door.
Almost. Amazing.
Thank
You've been
you.
doing this since 15 years old.
Yes.
And you won't allow anything or anybody
No.
to come in and to change who you are authentically.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your truth.
Thank you.
I appreciate your realness. I appreciate you for taking time for the people of God, because I know the backstory. And you pour into so many people. So I just want to take that moment to pour into you.
Thank you.
Just for a split second. It may not be a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I want to give you your flowers while you're here to smell them.
Thank you.
Because there are young women who need to know, even at 15, I started in this, but I had no clue what I was going to deal
No
with
clue.
up until this age. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate you. To everybody watching, I always end the show with saying, there are a million reasons to hate, but there should never, ever, ever, ever be a reason why you're not loving. Love is the only thing that is going to draw. Love is the only thing that's going to deliver and to save. And until the next show, you all be blessed. Listen, tell the truth. Don't allow lies to become a part of you. Don't wear lies. Shake it off, because there's more to you than that. Until next week, see ya.